So it's Mental Health Week here in Australia, and I wanted to bring something up that I noticed has been happening a lot online over the last few days. An incident happened over the weekend here in Melbourne that really got me thinking Australia doesn't really understand people who suffer from a mental disability. If you're unaware of the incident, I'm not going to go over it too much because you would have read it everywhere, but basically a young lady who was on a tram noticed another young man, and his behaviour she thought was predatory, was a bit sexual, and she thought he was on drugs. Now, it turns out he suffered from autism. She publicly shamed him on Facebook, and there was a bit of a witch hunt for him, and things didn't go so well. And when the public realised that he suffers from autism, they then turned on the young girl. So there's one main thing that is brought up out of this entire and completely negative situation, and that is we don't understand people's behaviours when we see them. We're quite confronted by the situation and we just naturally assume the worst. I spoke to my mother, who used to be a teacher's aide at a special needs school, and she just adores all the kids that she looked after over a period of maybe 6 or 7 years, and she had some great stories. And I asked her about the incident, and she had some pretty strong opinions, but the one takeaway point I got was that Australia just doesn't understand, and we choose to not understand, and we sit back and we observe and we make judgments. Mum also said that she believes that we are teaching our children to be very fearful of everything. It's really hard for me to say that we shouldn't be fearful of everything because there's people running around dressed as clowns, scaring the bejesus out of everyone. But she said the idea of stranger danger has been taken to such an extreme that when we get on a train or a tram or a bus, no one talks to anyone. We get out our phone and we look at our screen. We don't observe anything. We're too afraid to do anything or interact with any other human being for fear that they might misconstrue our being social. Autism and Asperger's and Down syndrome, people who suffer with this don't have the ability to read certain social situations and read people, and they just want to be incredibly friendly. The incident with the guy on the tram is he was just high-fiving people and mumbling to himself. Mum told me that that's pretty common, and she said, people really need to read up about autism, Asperger's, Down syndrome, all the issues. People should have a knowledge on it, even if you don't know anyone with it. She then said a story that I thought was incredibly cute, and she explained to me how social some of these people want to be. They want to interact with you. They don't know you, but they want to talk to you. They want to have a conversation. And on one particular week, she was assigned to help a young gentleman who I believe was in Year 12 catch the train. So basically, she's training him up to be able to catch public transport on his own. So she takes him through it a couple of times and then basically lets him do it on his own. But what he doesn't realise is Mum's actually, hiding further down the platform, just making sure everything's okay. And she told me that she got spotted. She didn't do a good job of hiding. And the young gentleman was so excited to see her, and that he tried to find her, and that he saw her get on the train further down the carriage. So he got on at one end, she got on at the other end, and Mum, had her newspaper. She was hiding, trying to keep a lookout for him to make sure he was okay. And then he spotted her and sat right next to her and just struck up a conversation. Now, she had to shadow him for a couple of days, and he worked this out pretty quickly. So he kept looking out for her, he kept wanting to engage with her, and she had to try and hide because she really wanted to see if he was able to catch the train on his own. And in doing so, she noticed that he actually made a lot of friends. This whole situation, people saw Mum, and they saw this young gentleman, and they saw what happened continually every day on the train, and they would often whisper to my mum to say, "Oh, he's coming, hide, hide, hide." And then he would end up having conversations with these people and developing a little bit of a friendship. I hope this all makes sense, and I do understand a lot of people have said sometimes a single female who is travelling alone can be terrifying, and it can be terrifying. I can't relate to that because I'm a young white male. I feel safe getting on the trams or trains on my own, and I understand that women feel threatened and they get followed home. If this happens, get on the phone, call someone you live near, stay on the phone with them, or if you do feel like you're being threatened in any way, call the police. Don't take a photo of someone and publicly shame them on Facebook. In this situation, the worst possible outcome has happened. Happy Mental Health Week!